world is about to find out what we all know, what this brother brings to the table. He is sensational, make no mistake about it.
Myles Garrett may not only just be the best defensive player in the league, he might be the best player in the NFL.
I don't see anybody beating him. This man is a monster.
The Browns lost the X factor of their franchise. The Eagles traded away a centerpiece of their passing game. The Giants moved on from the anchor of their defense. In a span of a few months, 3 organizations parted ways with players who had defined them for years. And on the other side of those deals, the Rams, the Patriots, and the Bengals. These are 3 teams that weren't looking to rebuild. 3 teams that believed they were closer to contention than the rest of the league realized. That's what makes the 2026 offseason so fascinating. We just saw a wholesale redistribution of talent across the NFL, and it has almost certainly changed the league's hierarchy in the process. The road to the Super Bowl looks very different than it did just a year ago. And for other NFC teams especially, things just got a whole lot worse than they were in the recent past. Myles Garrett joins the Rams' defensive line, where he will now occupy the left side. Behind him, the Rams have Braden Fisk at tackle, giving him the interior push to complement the edge presence. Garrett saw double and triple teams in Cleveland for the last 3 seasons because there was nobody else on the line worth respecting, and the Browns had no other pass rushers drawing attention. So offensive coordinators could bracket Garrett all night and still feel comfortable. For years, the Rams operated differently than most NFL franchises. When they believe they have a championship window, they leave no stone unturned in capitalizing on it. Evidence for this is the number of first-round picks they include in trades every year to consolidate. They traded every one of their first-rounders for 7 straight years between selecting Jared Goff number 1 overall in 2016 and taking Jared Verse in 2024. The goal is simple: maximize the present. The upcoming draft windows indicate pretty much the same approach. They've traded future picks that are likely to be late first-rounders to accommodate the NFL's most intimidating defender, perhaps ever. Garrett was more than just Cleveland's best player. He was the identity of their defense, the face of their franchise, and the chief draw for free agents, especially defensively. After all, there aren't many pass rushers clearing 23 sack seasons in the league today. That's what makes this move so important. Championship teams are often separated by one thing: the ability to pressure elite quarterbacks without blitzing them or sending late rushers. Garrett gives Los Angeles exactly that. He changes protection schemes. He changes game plans. He changes what opposing offenses are willing to call on in critical downs. The Rams already believe they could compete for a Super Bowl. The Garrett trade just suggests they believe they can win one. And in the NFC that feels more open than it has in recent years, that matters. But while Los Angeles has made the NFC's most aggressive move, New England may have made the AFC's most important one. For years, the Patriots searched for a true number 1 receiver. They tried developing young players. They tried patchwork solutions. They tried spreading targets around. Stephon Diggs was traded for, and he produced for the most part. However, one could argue that since the days of Gronk, the Patriots have not had a receiving threat capable of bending defensive schemes with his presence. A.J. Brown changes that immediately. Brown arrives in New England with more than 8,000 career receiving yards and 56 career touchdowns. Since becoming a full-time starter, he's been one of the NFL's most consistent and physically dominant receivers. In 2025, he caught 78 passes for 1,003 yards and 7 touchdowns. It was his 5th 1,000-yard season. Before that, he posted 1,079 yards in 2024 and 1,456 yards in 2023. This is pure production, and that's exactly why the Patriots made the move. Mike Vrabel's offensive system in New England is a run-first and 2 tight end heavy. But when he has the receiver of Brown's caliber, he uses him almost exclusively on the boundary against the team's best corner. Vrabel will motion Brown across formations to create pre-snap conflict, then attack vertically in the first 2 seconds of the route. Brown's combination of size, release, and contested catch ability is built for that role. With Drake Maye under center, Vrabel will use Brown as the reset valve on broken plays and the primary shot play target on early downs. At the same time, Philadelphia now faces a different challenge. The Eagles didn't just lose a productive player. They lost the focal point of their passing attack. Brown was the player defenses worried about first, the player who dictates coverages, the player who could change a game with one explosive play. The Eagles still have talent, but replacing that kind of impact is rarely simple. and that's why this trade could affect two contenders at once. Then there's the move that may receive the fewest headlines but could have the biggest impact on playoff football. Dexter Lawrence to Cincinnati. During his time in New York, Lawrence recorded 30.5 sacks, forced 5 fumbles, and established himself as one of football's premier defensive tackles. Then came the contract dispute. Lawrence wanted out. The relationship deteriorated. Eventually, Cincinnati became the beneficiary. The Bengals immediately committed significant money to him because they understood something important. For years, Joe Burrow and the offense carried the franchise. The defense often lagged behind. Lawrence helped solve that problem. Trey Hendrickson's pressure with Cincinnati was edge-generated as he beat tackles around the corner at a historically high rate in 2024 and 2025, which meant offensive lines could scheme against him by widening the tackle set and using a chip from a tight end or running back. Dexter Lawrence attacks the A and the B gaps, forces quarterbacks to move their feet sideways rather than forward, which disrupts timing routes and makes the deep ball almost impossible to throw with accuracy. Lawrence is also a two-gap defender who can hold the point of attack against the run and still generate 3+ sacks per season. Hendrickson was a one-dimensional pressure player who needed edge space to operate. Lawrence doesn't damage whether or not offense respects him as a pass rusher. For a team trying to challenge Kansas City and survive the AFC gauntlet, balance may be the difference between a playoff appearance and a championship run. And that's where the bigger picture comes into focus. The Rams got stronger. The Patriots got stronger. The Bengals got stronger. The Browns lost the face of their franchise. The Eagles lost the centerpiece of their passing game. And the Giants lost the player who defined their defensive front. Every trade creates winners and losers, but not every trade changes the league. These might, because when elite talent moves, expectations move with it. The Rams are now firmly in the NFC's top tier. The Patriots suddenly look far more dangerous than they did a year ago. And the Bengals might have built one of the most complete rosters in the AFC. At the same time, the conference gap continues to widen. The AFC already featured Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and a growing collection of contenders. Now the Patriots and the Bengals strengthened their cases as well. Meanwhile, the NFC feels increasingly concentrated around a smaller group of legitimate threats. The Rams, Patriots, and Bengals looked at their rosters and decided they were close enough to act aggressively. The Rams have positioned themselves as their biggest counterpart in the NFC. The Patriots and Bengals are trying to force their way into the contender tier. And the Browns, Eagles, and Giants are left trying to prove that losing foundational players won't change who they are. Maybe it won't, but history suggests otherwise. Because in the NFL, the hierarchy rarely changes on Sundays. It changes in the months before the season ever begins.